Hi there, I'm Mr. Hayden and I teach computer science and robotics here at the high school, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about the offerings we have in these subjects. So the first course we have is AP Computer Science. This is a college level course that follows the AP curriculum, and 95% of it is learning to program, do object-oriented programming in the Java programming language. This course is particularly useful for students who will be majoring in engineering or a science field, or even a social science field if you'll be conducting research at some point. Half of the time, one nice thing about the course is that half of the time is spent working on computer labs. So these are large programming projects that teach the concepts of the course. So usually they tend to involve logic-oriented games such as the card game War and 2048. So here is the version, you're looking at the version of 2048 that students program. So it's a pretty challenging but rewarding project. There's also another game we've been working on is the card game War. Also one that the students seem to enjoy. Okay, in addition to AP Computer Science, another course is AP Computer Science Principles. So this is really a combination of programming and I would say research into the ways that society is impacting technology, and probably more importantly the way that technology is impacting society. So only about 1/4 to 1/3 of this course is actually learning to program, and it's at an introductory level in JavaScript. The 2/3 to 3/4 of the course is really spent performing research, having class discussions, learning about all the ways society and technology are on intersecting each other. I believe a large portion of the class involves performing research into a technology subject and then coming up with a presentation, a multimedia presentation with the outcome of the research. Okay, after AP Computer Science Principles, there is also an Intro to Computer Science. Now, this is one of my favorite courses, and it's like AP Computer Science, it's mostly learning how to code or program. And the programming is done in C#, Java, and Python. So one nice thing about it is that you do learn multiple languages, so that if you move on to a future in programming, or you just like to learn a variety of things, there's definitely variety in this course. This class is a little bit more relaxed than AP Computer Science, both in the depth of the subject material and also the pace at which the course moves along. And really about 2/3 to 3/4 of the class time is spent working on projects in the computer lab. So these projects tend to be oriented towards video games, either logic games or animated games. And as an example, I have two here. One of them is an animated game where the player is going to be avoiding divers and trying to eat sharks. So it's a collision. It's a 2D collision game, which students would write all of the code for. Then the other one is kind of a button mashing game that is a lot of fun, which is a competition between two players, and each of those players is trying to make it across the screen faster than the other. So a lot of the projects are pretty fun. Give students a big chance to be creative and use their artistic skills in addition to learning how to program. So I really enjoy teaching the class. If you definitely have more than one year to spend in computer science courses, here at the high school, I would definitely recommend taking Intro to Computer Science. Okay, and the final class is a relatively new one, and that class is Intro to Robotics. So in Intro to Robotics, we learn how to design and build and then program actual robots and the sensors that go along with them. So once again, it is pretty, for the most part, a lab-based class, and almost 80 to 90% of class time is spent tinkering with the robots or learning to program them. And then in the spring, we'll have a competition where we have some really creative design problems for building a small robot that will accomplish some kind of task and probably play a game versus other robots created by other teammates. So Intro to Robotics, there's a lot of cooperative learning going on in the class. In the fall, students typically work with one other student to design and program the robot. And then in the spring, there you may work in teams of 3 or 4 students designing and building a robot. So here's a little video of some of the robots in action from this fall. This is actually one of the first challenges students have, and that's to get a robot to successfully navigate through a preset course without being remote controlled. So this is a really fun course for students on the robotics team. I would strongly recommend taking this course, as well as anyone who's very mechanical and wants kind of an elective that is very hands-on. Alright, so those are the 4 courses that we teach here at the high school, and I would strongly encourage you to take those courses or consider taking one of those courses. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to find me, and I'll answer those questions for you. Can be found most days in nearly in B115 nearly at all times this year. And if you can't find me then, Miss Yeager can usually point you in the direction of where I'll be. So good luck scheduling, and I hope to see you next year in one of my courses. Cheers.